Chairman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I can see the future, at least a little way in the future. Today, each of these resolutions will be voted down on a partisan basis. Even though the dais is empty, virtually empty of Democrats now, they will all be here and they will vote down each and every one of these. They will do that because you don't want to hear, you don't want to see, you don't want to know, or perhaps you don't want us to see, you don't want us to hear, and you don't want us to know. And I deeply regret that for many of the reasons that my colleague, Mr. Gomer, just said. You and I have served here for many years, for 22 years together, and we will serve in the next Congress together, undoubtedly. In the next Congress, you may occupy that seat, or someone else may occupy that seat. But the fact is that this committee's obligation, exactly as it is any time we suspect, not see, not are sure, but just suspect something that needs to be looked into, and we ask for the information, we need to get it. Now, I've made mistakes in my 2 decades here. You know, in what became the Bates decision, I didn't see the importance of demanding and holding in contempt a member of the Bush administration when she was not delivered upon our subpoena, the subpoena of Mr. Conyers. And I regret that because I learned from it. I hope that you will think again and that my vision of the future will be different than the reality. And you'll look and say, you know, notwithstanding what someone might be telling me to do, which is to block all of these, I should err on the side of openness and transparency. I hope we'll do that, but my vision is that we won't. That means that everything that we're trying to get today, we will have to wait until January 4th of next year, if at all, to get. And that will be justice delayed, which is justice denied. I want to use the little bit of remaining time I have to say something to this body that I think has to be said. We have almost always considered the work of people beneath the president. In the firing of the 9 U.S. attorneys, we were looking primarily at people around the president, even though it was the president's authority. In the case of Hillary Clinton's leaving government with classified information on a server that its very essence violated the Federal Records Act, we were dealing with someone beneath the president and no longer in government. The list of people we go after, Lois Lerner and so on, are most often beneath the president. Today, much of what we're considering has to do with that one unique individual, of which we have only had 46, and that is the President of the United States. All power of Article 2 and all rights and all decisions that are authorized, including declassifying documents, belongs to that individual. It may be passed on to subordinates to have some input, but the reality is the Constitution and this body bestows all of that power on one individual. And as a result, we hold that individual to high standards, and appropriately so. But we also respect the privacy and the work product of that individual at a level higher than any others. Often, this committee and others will see people come and say, well, this is privileged because it was prepared for a meeting with the president. We've dismissed that often and said it isn't. But we've never before dismissed the direct product of the president, the signatures, the notes, the work product of a president. The FBI and the Department of Justice has flagrantly done just that as we speak, and no decision by a judge to grant it or a decision to hold it in front of a special master changes the fact that we have crossed a line that we should not have crossed, or I should say the administration crossed a line they should not have, and we should right it by at least looking into it. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your indulgence, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back for purposes. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania seek recognition.
I